Hello and welcome to another edition of Cooking Up Virtual Events. I'm delighted to be here, joined by my friend Diogo Assis. Diogo, how are you today?
How are you, Miguel? All great. In Lisbon, it's sun shining, 20 degrees Celsius outside, so I'm smiling.
I am very jealous. I am in Denmark. It's like 5 degrees outside, something like that. It's a very, very different kind of weather over here. If you are joining us, please do let us know in the chat where you're joining us from. We love to see all these people from all around the world connect with us and just be yourselves here on LinkedIn. We're looking forward to all these chats and all these connections coming through. I've just added the video in the post in the group, so we should have some more people joining us soon, and I'll keep a track of where we are in terms of viewers. We have already 7 viewers joining us. Welcome, hello, wherever you are in the world. We hope that you're safe. We hope that you're healthy. Let us know in the comments below where you are and join the conversation. I just want to start off this session by disclosing that I do have a financial relationship with Diogo's company, VOQIN. So I want to make sure that that's open and clear. It's not a financial relationship directly related to this session, but there is a financial relationship. So now that we've disclosed that, which I think is important, I want to go back to when we met. I think we met 2008, MPI European Events Meetings and Events Conference in London. 2008.
I think it's well before that, Miguel. I think it was in Monaco a couple of years before.
I didn't go to Monaco. My first one was in London. I remember. I still have your business card from I think Events by TLC at that point.
Yeah, maybe TLC Portugal. Yeah,
TLC Portugal. Yes, I remember. I was volunteering as a student, and I think we met at registration. So it's been a while. So at least 12 years that we've known each other. And for anybody who's watching who doesn't know who you are, could you give us a short introduction of who is Diogo Assis?
Sure. Diogo, 43 years old, Portuguese, and launched my business about 20 years ago. At the time, TLC, and TLC was about promoting Portugal for amazing events. And then, of course, executing with creativity and immaculate delivery. So this is how we started 20 years ago. And that 20 years ago, we started by doing virtual site inspections. Funny enough, there is a link to what we're doing today. So today, VOQIN, the name comes from our core purpose to provoke meaningful emotions. And that core purpose, that's what drove everything that we've done and we're going to speak today. Before the pandemic, we were about 150 of us, doing about 500 events a year in 60 plus countries in the world. And just to disclose a little bit, we had already a technological team and a development team, which was instrumental to what we're going to talk today. 3 kids, amazing wife, live in this amazing country, Lisbon, Portugal, which the weather is still close to spring. Then closer to winter right now, just to make you a little bit jealous. And I think that's a very
short introduction. And yes, and we both support the same team in Portugal, Benfica, which is also important.
Not just the biggest in Portugal, but I guess in the world, Benfica. Yeah, you missed that, no? You missed the games in Portugal, no?
I still try to watch a few. I just want to say hi to a few people who are joining us. Mark from Nairobi, Kenya. Welcome, Mark. We have Liliana Gaspar in France. We have the one and only Corbin Ball from Bellingham, Washington. Corbin, nice to see you here. Luís Valente from Portugal. Nice to see you here with us, Luís. Rosário Santos from Spain. We have Luís Felipe Garcia from Luanda. And we have Elling Hamso, our last guest on the Cooking Up Virtual Events, also joining us. If you joined us and you haven't said where you're watching from, please add that in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to connect everybody. Now, Diogo, great introduction, but of course, we're not in a fantastic place when it comes to live events and the business of events. What's been your view on all of this, and how did we get here? How have you been adapting to this whole situation?
Well, this is crazy. It's crazy times, not just for the industry, but for many others. It's unprecedented. So I think it's more than a crisis. This is biblical. This is something that generations will be talking about. But just looking on a micro point of view, not talking about politics and COVID, let's avoid that for 1 hour, please. What we've done in March, I remember it was 11th of March, when we went home before the government declared that the state of the calamity state was in place and we should go home. We've done that 2 days before, and our priorities was, of course, the safety of the team and the families, and secondly, to equip people with tools to work remotely. So for 2 years we were discussing internally remote working, and we were not getting to the right equation, but in 2 days, 48 hours was enough to put everything in place. And I tell you that we did well on that point of view. And the third phase, which was really relevant, was we looked inside. We looked inside to our purpose and values. And one core value that I believe we always had, it's a true sense of entrepreneurship and a true value of entrepreneurship that all the VOQers have as one of their core skills.
I think it's amazing what you're saying. So many companies have done the same. They've been discussing how to work remotely for years, and always there was an objection, and suddenly in 2 days you figure it out, right?
And those are the small beauties of what's happening. But so what I believe also that this is a time not just for doctors and first aid people, but also for creative people, seriously. And we believe we have a really good creative team. We looked inside, as I said, and we said, come on, with our purpose, which is to deliver or to build emotions between brands and their audiences, how can we continue to be relevant when we are locked down, when we can't do our core business, which is get people together in a room or in a country and power them with great content and services and hotels, etc. How can we continue to live our purpose? So we've opened teamwork between all the countries. We have people in Brazil, Spain, Portugal, Florida. We mixed the teams and we started to get ideas. We've organized that on a business model canvas format. We've opened the funnel of ideas. We got some amazing ideas from the floor up, and we decided to invest in a few of them. And I believe we will talk today about a few of them. One of that was the platform that comes from the purpose of provoking emotions. It's called MX, from Emotional Experiences. We say we are the first emotion tech in the world, which blends emotions with technology, blends people with technology. And this is what we believe it's missing out there. It's emotions that are able to connect people, of course.
And we'll get to the Emacs platform later on. I think we'd like to cover some of the events first. Going back to a few shout outs, Katia Young from Atlanta, but she's Brazilian. We have our friend Diogo Castanheira saying hey there. And Nuno Sardinha from Estoril, very good. Rita Magalhães. Excellent. We have Mercedes Condenieto from London. Patricia Mesquita from Cape Verde, a lot of people from Africa. Excellent. Very happy to see you here. And hello from Mallorca, Olivier. Excellent. So glad that everybody can join us. And I have a cheeky request. If you think that what we're talking about here is interesting to your network, please do consider sharing this video with your network on LinkedIn. We'd love to reach as many people as we can and just have an interactive conversation here with as many people as we can. Elling says emotion tech is a great new term. So you have thumbs up from Elling, I believe, there. So that's excellent. So I want to jump into, we want to cover 3 events, which I think are 3 of the most interesting and dynamic and new ideas that VOQIN has been producing over the last few months. And shall we start with the ePartners Lab? Tell us a little bit about what the Partners Lab was and what the ePartners Lab is now.
Absolutely. So Partners Lab, it's if we go back, this is the 7th edition. So if we go back to the previous editions, the event was designed by the teams in the different countries to allow us to do 2 times a year to have all our partners in the same place to discuss trends and to build some really good networking and good relationships with our suppliers, which we call partners because they are partners in what matters. So we didn't want to stop doing something meaningful for them as well during this lockdown period. And on the 7th edition, we decided to do it virtual, but at the same time to do it global. We used to do one per country. So Portugal used to have 2 editions, sorry, not 1, 2. Spain the same, Brazil the same, etc. And we decided to do the first global and virtual Partners Lab. So that's the e-Partners Lab, which was as well an event to launch our platform Emacs. The 1.0 followed by a very successful beta version. We talk about that later. But the purpose of the Partners Lab, which I was telling, is to build the stronger relationships between the VOQers, our team, partners and clients. So we wanted to have an event that was very rich in education, knowledge sharing, and also to continue to allow some really good networking going on. So yeah. So maybe if you want to show the video, and then we can talk a little bit over that.
Absolutely. And I participated in it just as a participant, and I was very interested to see the different dynamics. So happy to share this video so everybody gets a little bit of a feeling of what we're talking about.
Olá a todos, sejam muito bem-vindos. É um grande prazer estar com vocês. É que antes este evento era realizado somente em Portugal e Espanha, e agora pela primeira vez ele tem um alcance global, uma edição sem fronteiras e 100% digital.
É com muito prazer, alegria e até emoção que abro o primeiro Partners Lab VOQIN Global. Vocês aí em casa e nós aqui nos headquarters da VOQIN em Lisboa. Este engagement que nós criamos através do MX é o ponto, ou como dizem os meus queridos colegas no Brasil, o engajamento, é o ponto crucial para que nós não percamos a audiência e o conteúdo chegue ao seu destino. Espero que Ricardo tenha-te ajudado e tenhas percebido um bocadinho melhor como é que funciona a nossa plataforma nova.
Em nome da VOQIN, agradeço a vocês por terem estado desse lado e desejamos a todos um ótimo fim de semana e com toda a certeza será até já.
So that was the Portuguese version of the ePartners Lab, but definitely saw some familiar faces and a very unique studio where the whole event took place. Am I right?
Yeah, that was our office turned into a studio with the help of a great partner we use in Portugal, RXF, for audiovisuals. We turned the office into a studio, which happened more times after that. This was in July. We're talking about the 10th of July. When we launched the version 1.0 of the Emacs. And it was designed with emotions, because when you saw that music coming in at the beginning and you saw the video at each person, we started the registration by asking people for one picture. We can ask very simple information or complex. And we asked them to produce a video where they dance to their best music. And they didn't know what for. So when we've opened the event, even before the speaker comes in or the MC comes in, we had that music and everybody singing. You see Diogo there with his kid, and you see other people with their dogs, and they saw themselves there. And of course, you build an emotional connection to the event. And from that point of view, you build, of course, on that. You engage your brain. It's much more ready to consume content. So it was a great opening, and then we had our other tricks going on during the event, but that was the first bit.
Roger says, great video. Thanks for joining us, Roger Bradley. So yeah, we have some fans, and also JQ from Honduras. Hello, JQ. How are you? Great. And tell us a little bit about the teams that are involved in this. You mentioned one partner, the AV partner, RXF. What about internally at VOQIN and other partners that were involved in the making of this event?
Well, I think this was the first of all, for me, let me tell you that the feeling was the same feeling I had in 2002 when we've done the same event. And I remember I had a smart car. I went to the airport and I was going with a smart car on the back of the bus. That was our first event. And I had like a cold stomach, and I had absolutely the same feeling that we were starting all over again from scratch. Full risk without knowing what's in there. And for the teams, I think it's the same. So we had our experience team, which is the delivery team. We call them experience because we deliver great experiences. And they had the same feeling. We had to build, of course, a studio where everybody in studio, from speakers to staff, had to play with the health and safety rules. And that was a challenge in itself. We had the AV guys in here, light, sound, video streaming. Of course, we had our innovations team that were taking care of the platform and making sure that everything was coming alive together. Another feeling that I got on that day, Miguel, funny enough, is that this is the same of being on the back office of a Congress center. It's the same because what's happened on the back office, you see the same things going on. Of course, you don't have the full catering on, you don't have the amount of people there, but there is a lot of similar things going on the back office.
Absolutely. And that's one thing I wanted to ask you. You know, obviously everything's changed, but some processes are the same, right? So you're saying some of what you were doing and the feeling was quite similar to what you experienced at a live event.
No, and absolutely. Processes of procuring suppliers, of making sure that they fit for purpose, making sure that we have a minute by minute event that everybody is geared on for, making sure that the speakers come on stage on time, making sure that the video comes on time if it's pre-recorded. Of course, you need other technical skills. And I feel, and going on another direction, that the future of event managers will be much more from logistics to data as well. So we had a lot of people looking at data as well. And this is a big move. This is a big change on that point of view.
We have a big fan here from Susan Scales. She says it was a great virtual event, loved it. So I think she participated in the event possibly. Susan, thanks for joining us. If you had to put a number on it, what would you say would be the percentage of skills or activities that you did at this event that were similar to an in-person event, and things that were completely different that had to be learned, new skills, new techniques?
Well, I don't know about that. What I know is that at the end of the day, when the delivery person, an experienced person, comes back home after one day, they can't walk anymore because they're walking from one side to the other. This is a little bit slow on that point of view, but I'm not too sure about that. But there is similar things. You have other skills in play. You have people that understand from other technologies, and especially technology that allow people that are on the other side of the world to come to stage and efficiently, where sounds and lights and everything is perfect. I was a speaker at one event which was a disaster on that point of view. So that can be a very hard experience for a speaker, making sure that we have on the other side people that can be comfortable in participating. It's good. You have people that are supporting also the people that register the event. If they have any issues, straight away the team here, the support team, will be online with them on a parallel link where they can resolve it. So we have 2 people on a universe of 230 on that specific event. 2 people that had any issue getting into the event. It was
just like your virtual concierge, right? It's just that if you're on site, some people don't know where to do something, right? So you need to help them make sure that everything runs well. So I want to make sure we cover the other events. I want to spend too much time here, but any thoughts on how you measure the success of that event, and what would you change if you were the next edition? Because I imagine you're probably going to do another ePartners Lab. How do you see it evolving?
Well, it's much easier to measure return when you are on the digital than you are on the physical. First of all, you can measure conversion as well. It's very easy. So the amount of people you've invited to the amount of people that turn in, easy to measure. Our platform, it's built with Power BI on it, so we can measure data anytime. We also can see where, because the technology allow people to interact with it, we can see the amount of engagement that the audience has with any specific room, with any specific content, with any specific speaker. And then you can also measure if people disappear in the middle of it, if they stay, if they liked one speaker better than the other. And that's immediate. You can measure that straight away. Then we have a content and data team which produce a very comprehensive report that we give our clients the following day, which they can see absolutely where people were, what they liked, what they didn't like, if you have any drops or not. So it's very measurable, very easy, it's on time, and it allows companies as well to look at the content much more strategic for following times.
Makes a lot of sense. So what about the next question? So what would you do next time? What do you have planned for the next Partners Lab? How are you gonna raise the bar?
Well, we're building a new version 3.0 and 4.0 where we're looking a lot at matchmaking. And this is where in July we were still not there. So you could, at registration, you can say your preferences, and then it allows you to search for people that have like-minded. So that we have already, but it's not powered by artificial intelligence. And this is the beauty, of course, of live events, is that we can meet, we walk the halls, and we can see Susan there. I meet with her, I have a coffee. So this is still not possible on the digital with the same extent. I think it will come. There will be solutions very, very engaging. And we're building on that. So this is what I want to build for the next Partners Lab. It's an amazing matchmaking platform that allows people to take networking as well to a different level.
Because we were talking just before we went live about that challenge when it comes to digital events, about how do you build that serendipity, how do you connect and join conversations with different people, and I think it's a really valuable thing to work towards. I'd love to hear from anybody who's watching live, or even if you're not watching live, we'd love to hear your comments, and we'll do our best to go back and also comment them later. What do you think about this event? What do you think about that challenge of meeting people and that random interaction in the digital world? How do we solve that? If you've been to any events where you think that was solved or that worked really well, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you and get some more information about that. But now let's move on to the second event that we want to cover, and that is the B2Run Portugal. And tell us a little bit about the history of this event and what it looked like this year.
Well, B2Run, it's the biggest brand of corporate runs in the world. It's huge. To give you an example, in Munich, there is 35,000 people in the Olympic Stadium running 5K for their companies. In Portugal, it's the biggest corporate race as well, which is a VOQIN product, and it's the 6th edition that we've done this year. It was always on the physical, of course, with a big venue. So finishing the run on the big venue, that was very relevant, and the purpose of the event was healthy companies are happy companies. So it was to promote well-being within an organization with great sense of belonging, breaking barriers. There's no sea level and there's no bottom level. Everybody's running with the same shirt, and that we had a huge amount of companies running that race to an event that was on the physical about 3,000 people. So this year, of course, we couldn't make it because we couldn't. The authorities didn't allow us to, even with all the measures, to put not even 200 people at the same venue. So we went to our sponsor and said, listen, these are the contingency, but we have an amazing plan. Let's move that to digital. Let's keep the movement. Let's change slightly the purpose. So let's make this the biggest corporate sporting event of solidarity in the world. And the word solidarity here was very relevant, because then we went and found a partner, which is Upendum. It's a startup, it's a global startup, but based in Dubai, which promotes movement on an organization, movement that it's translated to money, and money that it's translated to give back to institutions. So it's to, I'm not sure how you say that in English, but it's to democratize the corporate social responsibility. Instead of, let's say, a big company, Pfizer says, I'm going to give 2% of my results to an association. No, it's the employees that will say, I want to give back to this association, which is related to my purpose. So if you show the video, then we can talk a little bit about...
Just bringing up Upendo on the screen, just so everybody can see. Upendo.com is the address if you want to have a look. But let's have a look at the video of the event, which I think will also cover this in a bit more detail. So here we go. I think you can say that that was kind of a hybrid event. You did have a small team of people actually running, right? And people running, sharing that on social media all around the world.
No, that's a total hybrid event. You had much more than one team. You had a few teams running around Lisbon together, but small, instead of having everybody together at the same venue. You saw on the video that there was a warm-up session powered by Home's Place. You had the stretching at the beginning. You have giveaways that was powered by different companies, where you could, with the QR code, connect and search for it. You had gamification going on. We've done, because we couldn't give the medal at the end, so we've designed Instagram filters that at the end, when you receive your certification, you can put the medal on your chest and take a picture of it. There was a Spotify playlist for the event, and then there was some seriousness topics around it. We've done some B2 talks at the beginning, powered by MX.
And you did a series of B2 talks, right? It wasn't just on the day, but there was a series leading up to it. And just to clarify, I'm not sure if I know the answer to this. If you'd done a physical events, were B2 talks already scheduled, or was this a nice addition to this? This was always planned to be the plan.
Yeah, we used to do it before the race on the day. We used to have, with the support of Great Place to Work as well, we used to do some topics. This year, the topics was the future of work, which everybody, of course, wanted to be parts of that. Burnout in times of remote work, and diversity and inclusion. So we did have a main room, as you saw, which was coming from the studio with a speaker, and then we have 4 different breakout rooms by topics where people could go and watch. The beauty of the digital on that point of view is that you can consume the content later on. So if I'm on a physical event, I go to one breakout. If I lose it, it's very difficult to then listen to what happened on another breakout. The digital, you go back to it and you consume the data later on. We have a sponsor, and yes, Miguel.
No, I know what you're saying, and I think it's great. However, I feel like we all register for lots of events, and then we never go back and watch the replays. Be honest, Diogo, how many times have you registered for a virtual event, and how many times have you actually gone back and seen the recordings of the sessions?
Very few, but there is another angle, Miguel. which is not, let's not take ourselves. We've done a couple of events for Unilever. Actually, we have one to the very big event today for Unilever. And one of them, on the SLA, we have the content available for 30 days. On this one, the content is there for 1 year. Why? Because they will use the content to train the new people. So
yep.
You're right on the question, but there is other angles to it.
No, absolutely. And I'm not dismissing the fact that it's a good idea, right? It's a good idea to have the content. And I think you make an excellent point, because more than just keeping the event open and allowing people to go back, repurposing the content, that's very valuable, because now that everything is being recorded, we have an amazing opportunity to take good content and repurpose it, make small videos, make mashups of different opinions, do whatever you want with the content. So I think, it opens up lots of possibilities. So I'm not discrediting the value, but that flow may not be always there, right? So I wanted to give a few shout outs again to Paulo Delgado from Alcobaça and Roger Elkaim from Paris. A few people have joined us since. Luis Valente has an excellent question about the platform, but I'm going to save that one till a little bit later on. And I wanted to ask the people watching, Tiziana Gomes is also watching, one of our colleagues at VOQIN. Joe Folder, one of my personal friends who knows Portugal very well, is watching from Nashville. Paola Mpella from Lisbon. We have your brother, Miguel Assis, also a big, important person in the company. He says he sent me a medal. Have a look at Workplace. Okay, we'll have to look at that later. And Anastasia Lodi calling in or watching us from Stockholm. Great stuff. Thank you. But I wanted to ask the people watching, have you participated in a virtual corporate run or any sort of kind of virtual joint physical activity? I'd love to hear from you, because I think this is a pretty innovative concept as it is, and the way that you brought in the different apps and the different suppliers to make it more interesting, I think is really innovative, and I think it opens up a lot of possibilities. But talk to me a little bit about the challenges. You talked about, obviously, the pandemic challenge. Were there other challenges that you had not foreseen, for example, when you kind of put this event together?
For me, the biggest challenge of this event it's the competition itself, because at the end of the day, there is a competition, there is categories. You have the quickest or the fastest CEO, you have the most healthy company, which register more employees. You have a series of categories. So when you're not racing at the same venue and you're not seeing the finish line, it makes it more difficult. So I would suggest that's the biggest challenge of all. But there is, again, I'm loving this digital thing. I love of course, I'm passionate about the live events, but I think the combination of both, it's great. Because the purpose of this event was so big that people connected so much with it. They knew that 1 kilometer was €1. 5 kilometers, which is the total distance, it's €5. The companies that register the employees, they double that. So we got something like €10,000 with these events to fundraising to institutions that the person that ran could choose which institution was the one they wanted to give money for. So the purpose was so big that you really had great connections to the event.
So the purpose wasn't just to, be physically active and do good for yourself. So every time you finished a kilometer, you would also donate money to a special cause. And I think that's a really interesting way of doing it, and really adding a kind of extrinsic motivation to participating, right? And you say the companies also, when they register, because it's a corporate run, also contributes to those funds. And I think it's great. It just feels like a really altruistic kind of events that you're happy to share with everybody. So it does impact more people than you can initially see. And tell us about, what do you have planned if you have to do this again next year? If you have to do another virtual hybrid B2Run next year, how would you improve on this one?
No, I can guarantee you that we're going to do a hybrid. So for sure, when we go back to the physical will be there, but people will have an option. People will have an option to go physical or digital, and they can run if they are in the Azores. If they are in any other country, they can run, and if they are in Lisbon, they can go to the venue. So it's I think that will happen, which means that we're looking to do the purpose. It's so big that we want to do the biggest corporate run in the world that goes on a hybrid. We really have big ambitions for it. any company that do not participate on it should be shamed of.
So, you're really trying to take full advantage of this global reach that online events have, right? So you can inspire people around the world. Liliana says, do online yoga classes count? Absolutely, Liliana. I think everything counts, right? Particularly if you're doing it live with other people, I think it's a lot of fun. And Miguel Assis wants to contribute. We should invite him to join the conversation. But he says there are two things that we gain on hybrid and digital events: space and time. We are not limited to the venue room square meters or the event schedule time. And this means that we can reach more people, and more people can reach more content. Excellent point. I think that summarizes what we were talking about just here. So yes, there are definitely advantages to this virtual or a digital version of these events, although they do present challenges. And how do you measure the success of this event? You mentioned the 10,000 euros. I think that's an excellent, even for a relatively small number of people running, that's an amazing amount to be able to donate. How do you measure the success of the B2Run, and how would you like to see that measured when you do this bigger event and take on the world really with the B2Run online?
Well, the first indicator is that 80% of people that participate, they finish. And that you can measure, because with the Upendum platform, we could have a leaderboard where we could see movement and teams and companies, where are they in the leaderboard. And 80% of people finished and received a virtual medal. So that's a big success. We were not expecting so high numbers, so people really committed to that. And my take is that this is total on purpose. It's an alignment with what's going on in the world. What else I can say? We had 3,000 people registered, which is approximately the same numbers as on the physical side. But people are still looking at the digital events still as another call or as another stream. So there is still a gray understanding of what it is. So I think we also need to be a bit patient, so people can start to be more. They understand better what is it, and so I'm expecting that the numbers will grow by 2 digits next year.
You make an excellent point, because this is the type of event that you can't just have it in your diary and show up in the middle of your meetings, right? This is an event where you need to participate, you need to get out. Hopefully it's something that you do, physical activity that you do anyway, but it's a bit more of an event, really, like a happening that happens on a specific day, not just another online meeting. So I think it's really interesting to really push the boundary in that respect. We have Joana Santos Andrade here saying hybrid is finally here to stay, with a smiley face. So I see that she's happy. And Ana Cristina Guilherme, wellness and work. Great and innovative. Thank you for joining us, Ana Cristina. And let's move on to our final event. We are 22 minutes out from time, and I want to make sure we end on time. So this, for me, is probably my favorite. It's called The Residential. I love food. I love good food. Tell us a little bit about The Residential and maybe why you like it as much, because I know that you're a big fan as well.
I like it better than you because I tasted. Yes.
I am officially jealous. Yes.
No, this is an amazing event. I love it too. This is times of partnerships as well. This is a partnership between Lohad, which is a company there in Portugal that produces amazing gourmet experiences, and they have the.
Don't worry, I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here. You keep talking. I'm just zooming you in.
Okay. Lohad, they have the most awarded event in the world, which is a presidential train that goes around the Douro River, where you have an amazing experience on a beautiful train that was a presidential train with a Michelin star, awarded 3 times in a row, the best event in a year. So we've done a partnership with them and with a catering company called Food Story, and we created this concept of the residential, which is a declination of the presidential. And basically, it's an original gourmet experience that you enjoy at home with a great box. The box, it's like receiving a Louis Vuitton box. It's unbelievable. It's the biggest cost of our P&L. Yeah. 2 floors. You receive it. Everybody goes on Instagram with the box. The experience of opening the box it's better than opening a new iPhone, I can tell you. So this is part of the experience. You receive the box on the day. The products are absolutely curated by Michelin star chef. You have everything in there, from the fresh food to olive oil to bread, the most amazing bread you can have. Caviar on this occasion, the event you're going to see. You have an apron which is personalized and you're going to keep forever. You have a soap which is great. After you cooking, you have that soap and leave a great.
What a nice touch. I mean, this is really an event that touches all five senses. We like to kind of talk about five senses, but this is the taste of the food, the smell of the food, what it looks like, what you hear the chef doing. I mean, it's amazing. So let's cut to the video. I think we've made everybody's mouths water a little bit, so hopefully this will help a little bit more.
I'm hungry.
So would you agree that, yeah, I know, those shrimp look amazing. So is this sort of like the ultimate home master chef experience? Is that what we're talking about?
Let's go back to the beginning. VOQIN, it's about provoking emotions. Here you actually provoke all the emotions. Of course, you have the video if you are at home and the sound but then you receive a box, you touch, you open it. It's an amazing experience. It's an Instagram experience. Then you touch. The smell of it, it's incredible. The cooking, the palate, this event, as you saw it here. The client was YPO, a Young Presence organization, which is the biggest organization of CEO and presence in the world. If it was a country, it would be the third biggest country in the world on GDP. We've done this event for YPO Portugal. They had a challenge. They always meet in June for the end of cycle, to talk about the results of the year, because the fiscal year, it's between 30th or 31st 30 June until the 1st of July, or 1st of July to 30 June. This is the correct thing. And so the board was speaking on the studio. As you saw, people on studio. This is a hybrid event. They talking on studio. They talking to an audience that was 70 members. And then from the content part of it, where they present the result, they appointed the new board, they went into the cooking part of it. With the QR code, all the members used the QR code. It moved to another room where they were cooking with the chef. This is a 2 Michelin star chef, Sapsoa, amazing restaurants in Lisbon. And everybody was cooking at home, but it's a very easy event because everybody can do that. It looks like a Michelin star. I would never cook something like that, but you go through the process with him. You cook an amazing meal, and it seems all right. You've done well, and then and you have a few guests, because it was still at times we couldn't have a lot of people, but you have 4 people at home, 2 couples, and you look like you are a super rocking star, that you've delivered an amazing meal to everybody. So this is an amazing experience. I love it too, and we're doing quite a lot now around Christmas events where companies can't be together. They at least want to do something which is a bit more meaningful. They can still present the results, they can still produce content, but then they'll have they are the senses waken up.
It's a really hybrid, hands-on experience that kind of takes it to another level, right? And just to clarify, I believe that you have a sort of public version of this event where anybody can join, or there's been a few editions, and then VOQIN really manages the corporate version of this event where you do special editions specifically for specific audiences, right? And anybody can join. I think in this case, there was people in more than one country, right? It wasn't just everybody in Portugal, which makes the logistics a bit easier. There were people spread out all over the world. So sending food around the world is a little bit challenging, but you managed somehow.
No, that one was only in Portugal. The members were all in Portugal, in different regions in Portugal. So we were delivering boxes in the Algarve, in Porto, in Lisbon. Everybody was in Portugal, but we've done already other events which are in other countries. But this one, your question, what was your question, Miguel? I lost it now.
Well, I'm just thinking about the challenges. I mean, it sounds amazing. I'm really jealous of this event. I think it's super creative. I'm pretty sure that everybody watching would love to participate in an event like this. But what are the biggest challenges when you put something like this together?
No, just going back to your last question, which I forgot in the middle of my thought, which was the business to consumer side of it. Yes, this is one that we designed for a corporate client or for an association, YPO. But we do have we do have a business to consumer editions. It's a lineup of chefs with dates. You can register, you can buy your box and participate on that event. So we've done a series of them in Portugal. We're launching now the Brazilian edition. We're looking to other countries to do the same events. To give you an example, the first edition we had sold out 48 hours before, after we launched. And it was picked by Forbes Forbes worldwide as a great innovative experience. So we did get a lot of attraction from the press on that event. We're launching other countries. This is one that it's very difficult to do, like you were saying, for global audience. You have to say, okay, this is for one country, these are the boxes. You do it regional, but you can do a series of regionals that you then combine with MX, where everybody's together under the same platform, sharing experiences at the end and having a great network while they're having their meal.
I just want to bring up the Forbes article because I love this headline. Reinventing the restaurant for the coronavirus era. Portugal is getting creative. I love that headline. I don't think I could have written it any better myself. Perfect.
Thank you,
and what do you think? I mean, I'd like to address a couple of questions because I want to make sure we get to questions from the audience. I know we want to cover Emacs as well, but I think Elling had a really interesting question here. He said more about the first 2 events, but Diogo, can you give more examples of what you did to generate emotional engagement and excitement throughout both events? And this was about B2Run and ePartners Lab, but I think it also applies to the residential. We've talked a lot about emotional engagement. How do you get there? What do you do to make people emotionally engaged?
Yeah. We were giving an example of one of our events where at registration we've asked people to submit a video where they were dancing to a music. So this is a great example. We've opened the event. It was a global event. We've opened the event with a song from Queen, and everybody was on the screen dancing to that music. So this is already an emotional connection to the event. We've done, to respond to Elling as well, on another event that we launched a new line of product for Unilever for pets, dogs, cats, etc. A totally new business line. We went physically to interview at their offices some of their staff that have pets, dogs and cats, and we were asking them how is the relationship with their animals. What do they do in the day-to-day basis? Tell us a story. And then in the middle of the event, because yes, the brain works we've studied that in depth. Actually, the platform was built, as we said, with emotions. So we did have neuroscientists to work with us to understand how the brain works. So when you give a pill of content, then we wanted the brain to relax so it can absorb new content afterwards. So during that time, we launched a video where we brought to life those emotional interviews about people and their relationship with their pets. And you can't imagine the engagement that we saw on the chatbot. It was booming. And people were very emotional linked to the event. What did that make? They connected. They did not log off. They stayed there. They relaxed their brains. Then we had another pill of content with speakers, etc. And we measure that at the time that we deliver that content, post that emotional pill, everybody was engaging with the content. You could see that because on our platform you have emojis where people express their feelings while content is being delivered. So Power BI later on told us that everybody was super engaging. So when designing the event, this is no different to what we used to do on the physical. We first design the curve of emotions that we want to deliver, and then we select the venues, we select the outputs. This is the same thing. We design the curve of emotions, and then we bring in the solutions.
Excellent question. Thank you, Elling, for that. Please keep sending your questions. We'd love to answer more of those. But I think we should showcase a little bit Emacs, which is sort of the technology connection between the three events that we've been talking about. I think I'll just play the video and maybe we can answer a couple of questions and talk a little bit about Emacs after that. How does that sound, Diogo?
Let's go.
Life is increasingly digital. Every day, new ideas and technologies enable us to expand connections between people. But the reality is that we don't always connect. What truly connects us are the experiences we live and all the emotions we feel. We simply must go beyond sending and receiving. That's why Emacs, Emotional Experiences, was born. Our complete solution for an immersive, emotion-filled experience. Based on an exclusive neuroscience method, Emacs uses the concepts of unconsciousness, neuroplasticity, and synesthesia to activate all 5 human senses. It's a versatile virtual space that can host events, live streams, webinars, 3D environments, promotional interactions, sponsorships, brand activations, and gamifications. Whether physical, digital, or hybrid, Emacs guarantees a positive emotion journey. Emacs brings together all stages of an event, from accommodation, transportation, and tours, to learning, entertainment, and content. Everything is organized and integrated in 3 main pillars. Engagement. Capture and engage your audience, even in the challenges of the home office revolution, through interactions with apps, virtual and augmented reality, QR codes, chatbots, and artificial intelligence. This is the virtual world providing real emotions. Results. Connect creatively and objectively with increased effectiveness of communication. Experience. Colors, buttons, positions, effects, flows, breaks, all designed with UX and UI that delivers intuitive, friendly, and intelligent usability. Emacs is the only digital platform created with emotion technology. It's simple. It's digital. It's real, and it delivers emotional experiences. VOQIN, Emotions Creators.
Diogo, over to you. What is left to add after that video?
No, I think I just want to do a disclaimer here. We're not a tech company. We are an experience events company. We have technology. We had technology before. We had about 10 people developing. We've been running our business with systems developed by us for over 10 years. So what we shift of course, the focus to the digital. And we stayed very loyal to our purpose, which is to deliver emotions. And we believe we could make that with the online or with the hybrid scenario. So first, in March, what we did was to design an amazing user experience and user interaction, which responded to two main frustrations of event planners and event managers, which was everything at the same place, very intuitive. So I never leave the same place, never. Even if I go to another breakout room or to a networking session, I'll have to be at the same place. I don't move around to a different platform, to a different link. Stay at the same place. Very simple, very intuitive. And second, how do I deliver content where people do not shut their camera and they sound off? They'll be cooking or they'll be doing sports while a company is investing to deliver some content. Those two frustrations, I think they are very well solved with what we're doing with MX. MX, it's the platform that allows us to continue to do amazing experiences now online, but we believe the future will be hybrid. So we'll continue to do what we love, which is physical events. But now let's look at a city like Lisbon, which we have a web summit, which in consecutive days we have something like 100 to 110,000 people. We couldn't host events of 200,000 people in Lisbon before. We couldn't. If we compete with Las Vegas on that, Las Vegas will win because they can cater for that. We can't. But now we can. Why? Because people will have an option to stay online or to stay physical. There will be people that want to go back to physical, like me. There will be others that want to stay at home, and that will be fine. But the experience of those staying at home will have to be an absolutely amazing experience, almost in real time, as the others are experienced on the physical environment. So
definitely something to aim for there. Yes.
Absolutely. And everything we're designing and investing, we're putting a lot of invest. We have almost 50 people now developing the version 3.0, which will have a lot of interactions, which will be able to design a lot of emotions going on with there. So the user experience will be a completely new world. We're launching that in December. January next year, we launch the 4.0. Then we're going to start looking into integrating quite a lot of artificial intelligence on the matchmaking side, which we want to enhance the matchmaking side of it. So this is all that we're doing on MX. This is a never-ending story because we will be always doing a new version. So we're never going to stop. We will never arrive there. There is no there. Let's put it that way.
And it's quite an impressive pivot. I put a link to the platform here for you, and I have a comment here from Liliana Gaspar who says, share some of the research that's discussed in the video, the science behind the emotions. Have a look on the website, Liliana. There's a little bit of information on the website, and I'm working with the team actually to explore this topic better. And so there'll be some blog posts and some more information coming up on the website that's going to deal with that. And with that, we're 2 minutes from time. So I want to go back to a question from Luis Valente. He asked this right at the beginning, and I think it's an interesting question to just kind of end on and make sure, hopefully he's still watching and he can see his answer. So what's the cost per contact you have on your platform versus traditional events? You are for sure driving your costs down to clients, but it's also impacting your bottom line. So really, Luis is asking about the business model, right? This is a very different business model with Emacs. Just maybe a comment on that, and with that, I think we'll wrap up.
No, this is what companies are loving, is that they can see that they can reach much more people. They can't replace the physical environment in the sense of the networking, and people, when they are together, they do magic, but they can reach much more people. So the cost per reach, it's 1/10 of what it was before, or even less. There's no research on that. And to answer to the previously question, Miguel, I think it's important to say that on the blog of our website we have a report there on hybrid events with the research that we've done, which was extensive by our content team, and it's there for people to consume. So there is a lot of data in there that I think it's useful to go and look for it.
Well, And I think we'll end up there. Diogo, thank you so much for your time. I think that was
Thank you,
fascinating.
Miguel.
I hope everybody watching enjoyed it. I'll put the link there to Emacs if you're interested. And of course, to VOQIN, the company is also there. I wanted to mention a link also to a resource that I am building, the online events wiki. It has a listing of multiple events that are happening in the virtual world, so are sort of behind the scenes, and it's really what originated this series. It also has a big list of different platforms, including Emacs, that you can explore if you're looking for different platforms for online events. But with that, we're on the hour. Again, thank you, Diogo. Thank you for watching. We're going to be back next week with Sean Cheng. We'll announce that shortly. And I hope you enjoyed the hour of cooking up virtual events with myself and my special guest, Diogo Assis. With that, over and out. Stay safe. And if you're watching this on the recording, leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you there as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miguel. All the best.
Bye-bye.
Bye.